What's happening, guys? My name is Petru. We're here at the Passion Drives Purpose podcast. Great to have you here listening today. I have an amazing guest in the building. Super excited to share his story. He's just such a beacon of light, inspires the hell out of all the people that he interacts with. And before we do that, we're really gonna dive into what the purpose of this conversation is and make sure we set the tone right for the remainder of the series. So essentially, when I was growing up, I worked construction. Hated that job. I thought everyone hates their job. That's what I believed in until I became a barber. Once I became a barber, I realized that there's tons of people who actually love their jobs. And for young people out there, I want to have a whole aura, a whole bunch of people sitting on this couch and telling their story about how much they love their job and how they got into it originally. So that's why passion drives purpose. And my friend here, he's going to tell his story. He's got an amazing story to tell. He's got so much passion, so much purpose, and very highly driven individual. So without further ado, please introduce yourself, my brother.
My name is Joshua Obra. I'm an actor from Scarborough, to be exact, in Toronto, but I'm here and I'm ready to tell my story. I'm ready to just vibe, kick it, get to know each other better.
Yes, sir. So Josh, how do you first find the seed? How did you plant the seed to acting? What was the first thing that really made a light bulb click in your mind that, this is something I might want to do?
I think, like you were saying, you started off in construction. It's funny, I didn't even know that about you, but I was doing construction as well. I was doing interlocking. Familiar with that? Yeah.
Tough.
Yeah. So just for those that don't know, just laying down the bricks in the driveway. I used to be responsible for that. My employer at the time, super verbally abusive, like I'm being full transparency moment. Like I used to be crying on shifts, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Yelling at me. Remember waking up with my partner at the time, like just waking up and just seeing him bringing down my phone, waiting for me at the gas station down the street. And I'm like, fuck, I don't want to go. And you're tearing up. I'm like, I really didn't want to be here. But like how I found not only the motivation and like the courage to kind of go for what I wanted to do, which was acting, was just doing a lot of things I didn't like. You know, I started looking back at myself, like, what is it that I love to do? Like, I don't know. I remember I was really into watching Gary Vee's content at the time, and he was like, if you don't know what you want to do, be clear on what you don't want to do. Mm-hmm. So I started ticking off like the retails.
Interlocking's off the
list. That was number one. I knew I didn't really want to work for anybody. I knew I wanted to be creative. And then I started reading certain books, and I forgot where I got it from, but they started talking about your inner child and how it's important to kind of tap back into that. So I was like, what did I used to do as a kid? And I used to draw a lot, you know. I used to play a lot of sports. But one thing that I would always do is like I would act. Like I was always the most like dramatic. I was like hyper. I was doing all these things, and I always had people telling me that I should do it. I had a lot of teachers telling me I was expressive all the time. So I was like, I remember being in my room and like having that light bulb moment, like, I think I'm gonna try acting. And I never had a feeling. I've only had a few feelings like that in my life, but when I said that out loud to myself, it's like I just let go of like something that been on my back, and I felt so much lighter.
Something electric to it.
Yeah,
electric.
It was so weird. It was so weird, and now we're here.
Yeah, and at that point, I mean, how old were you?
I want to say I was probably like, it was 2016, so I mean like 18?
18 years old. Wow. So you're working, you knew it wasn't for you, crossed a few things off the list, and then you had that spark.
Yeah.
That spark. So after you had that spark, what were the first few steps that you took into the direction of adding some fuel to the fire, putting some wood on the fire, becoming an actor?
Yeah. Well, I just, you know what I mean, like, just hit up Google.
Okay.
So how to become an actor, just hit up YouTube, things like that. And then a lot of the videos were saying, just look around you to see who's doing it. And I remember looking around me and talking to the people. There were a few people I knew that were doing it, but I didn't get much answers. I met someone that goes by the name of Devontae. We call him Moose. He was into acting at the time as well. So I remember he brought me on one of my first sets. It was a music video for Jazz Cartier.
Okay.
Yeah, and from there, so I do a background. He introduced me to a whole bunch of like background agencies and background. A lot of people shit on it, but I think it's a great way to start. And like have the feeling of what it feels like to be on an actual set, learn the dialogue, the lingos in which people refer to certain things,
Right.
to see how a real set works. And then from there, you start meeting people, and they start meeting new actors, and then they help you out, and then you learn about the EBOS Canada's, the like a place for like commercials and things like that, short films. You learn about the Mandy.coms.
Okay.
That's another good place for people that are starting out, like pull out the short films, student films, and work for free. You know what I mean? Go to the Mandy.coms and just do the student films. You know what I mean? Do the things that are not going to get you paid, and see if acting is something that you actually want to do. And maybe it's just not a thought, you know, because a lot of people like the idea of doing acting, might like the idea of doing music or cutting hair, but when it comes to acting, doing it, and like you do your first haircut and you fuck up, you love it enough to keep going.
Right, bro. Oh man, I love that you touched on that right there, because first off, doing things for free is so important, because you put yourself in the rooms, in the atmosphere, around the energy, and really get a chance to know if it is for you. We touched on earlier with people doing music or acting or thinking that they want to do it. A lot of people see the rewards at the end of the finish line, but doing things for free and being in the atmosphere gives you a chance to actually run the race alongside the people that are winning at that race. And when you run the race, there's no glamour to it. As I'm sure you know, background is not very glamorous, right? But you are an actor that's glamorizing it, because it's part of learning the craft and honing the skill, and also networking, right? Like talking to people, putting yourself out there, not being afraid to get rejected, right? And basically taking the work that doesn't seem glamorized and still doing it, not having the ego to put yourself above it, realizing these are the ropes that we need to get where we're trying to go. So I love that you shared that part.
Where
we're gonna go, absolutely. And my big question to you, once you started putting yourself into these atmospheres and into these rooms, at what point were you like, this is totally my life? Like everything I see when I walk down the street relates back to how I'm going to be a better actor and how I'm going to get a better opportunity and better career fulfilled.
I think I'm still figuring that out. For sure. But I remember acting just being something, maybe like 2016 is when I started. So that's like when I went to like film school. That's when I was doing the backgrounds, doing the student films for free and things of that nature. But I still had a job.
Okay.
You know, I still had other ways of doing, I guess, getting money. I never really got paid from acting. It was just more so something that I liked to do at the time. And I never really seen it as like, okay, like this is what I'm going to be. You know what I mean? Like it was more so acting, and then I was modeling as well. So like it was pretty much not prioritized, but it wasn't until like I started getting money from it. And also too, it wasn't until like I started looking at my life and I'm like, what is it that like I do? You know, I started looking at my peers, like I know someone that's been making music since I've known him, and I've known him for like 10 years deep. Like people want to be like architects, so like that's their thing. People draw, and they went from drawing to like tattooing. You know what I mean? Like everyone had their thing, and I was looking at my life like, what did I do? You know what I mean? And I guess I was like, well, acting is the thing I've been doing the longest. I think at the time was maybe like 3 years. Right. I'm like, all right, so might as well just lock in with that. And then fast forward to now, it's like August 8th marked a year when I was just only acting, and I was able to like move out, and you know, I'm moving to where we live now. And fast forward, I have a TIFF premiere on Sunday.
Congratulations again on that. TIFF premiere, guys. TIFF premiere. Going from background, you know, having to rely on a different job. So this is something a lot of people that are really passionate with their purpose have to do initially. They have to sacrifice the prosperity element of what they're trying to do because of the love of the game. Even with myself, the first 2 years cutting hair, I didn't make a single dollar. I was coming into the shop, I was apprenticing, watching my mentor cut hair and learning. And some of my friends at the time were clowning me. They were saying, what are you doing? Like, why are you wasting your time? You know, seriously, like you're making no money with this. And I say, I know I'm not making money.
You don't gotta tell me, man.
Right. Like I see my bank account, but I have faith. And on top of that, also my mentor had faith in me. and the real friends have faith in you. And I'm sure you had a few of those people, maybe your family and friends around that were really pushing you on those low points. And what I really want to know is, how did it feel and how did it happen for you to break through the plateau of not making money with it, and then your first paid gig, and then that road, that part of the path where you went to doing it full time and quitting your other jobs?
Well, for being honest, bro, it's one of those things, like, you really have to love what you do, to like not to do it so much and like to not feel like you're reaping any rewards. Like I said, I didn't really get paid from acting for a while.
Right.
I remember there was like times I was supposed to, like, my first paid gig was probably like $30, and like I didn't even get paid.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like they're supposed to pay me some of the information, and I just never got.
You never got it. Never went through.
It never went through. It bounced.
Damn.
But yeah, I just loved what I did, so I wasn't really thinking of an end goal. I was just happy to be on set whenever I was able to, because even like now, like, there's no place I'd rather be. Like, being on set is so fun. I'm like a child. Like I remember doing a commercial for Whole Renfrew, and then I just knew that I was doing video portions, and they're like, all right, guys, we need you for stills. I'm like, oh, we're taking pictures too? And I was like, let's go. And I was here looking for the bike that I was using as my prop, and I'm like riding the bike. They're like, Josh, we need to come here. I'm like, okay, I'm coming.
Right.
Like, it's just something I love to do. So like, I never really thought of it as like, damn, like, when am I going to be able to make money? I'm just happy,
And that's the fulfillment of actually having passion behind your purpose, is that you're gonna work those long hours without thinking twice about it. You're gonna have the enthusiasm, the energy, the enjoyment. Whereas someone that's just doing it for the end goal is not really presently giving their all attention to the moment. And I think that's one thing that you really stand out, across anyone else that's in that industry that's not really putting their best foot forward. It's always obvious to see, no matter what industry or job or role is, the person who's actually happy to be there always does better, even if they're less experienced or less skilled or whatever the case may be. In the long run, they always end up shining way brighter. So I definitely see that in you. And one thing I really wanted to touch on was, like, what was like that big, like, obviously I know you still have such a long career to go, and I know you're gonna have such amazing accomplishments in the next years to come. But what was that big moment up to this point that made you feel like, I fucking made it? Like, all that free work paid off in this moment.
You know what, bro? I think booking like my first feature and seeing how much money I could make. I think it was like a movie of the week. For those that don't know, it's the type of movies where like you'll see that just play on the TV. That's a certain style of acting. I got like a side character role, you know what I mean? And then I was able to travel to Ottawa for like a week, and I shot that. And then when I see my paychecks, like, that was more money than I made like working like the year previous. Damn, I mean, so I was like, oh shit, like, this is crazy.
I made it.
This is crazy. And like, I just remember, because I never advertised that movie, because it's not, I won't say it's my best work, but it was definitely like a first that I'm proud of. And and I remember my mom, I think my sister showed my mom it, and then she just watched it, and just to be able to sit down and like watch my mom watch something that I did like a year prior was kind of crazy.
Right.
But also too, like, I'm so grateful for that moment, because I think maybe a year later I was involved in a movie called Scarborough. If you have Crave, check it out right now. It's a pretty good movie, really good movie. But we shot that in Scarborough. It was amazing. And it went to TIFF as well, has premiered, then it got picked up by a distribution company, and then it started going to select theaters. So I was able to like go to that and go to the theaters that I've been going to like my whole life, Morningside Theater, and watch that in Scarborough. But to answer your question, I remember doing the panel, and then after the panel, a little kid came up to me. He's like, "Yo, are you Xander from Daddy's Perfect Little Girl?" And I was like, "Wait, what? You've seen that?"
Wow.
That was like a huge moment for me, just because like I never promoted that, but like this kid that was in the movie like see me, he see my old work, and he just like,
Recognize.
yeah, he recognized me. Asked me my autograph. I was like, what the hell? Like, I ain't nobody yet, you know? So that was a moment I'll never forget.
Right, but you are somebody, bro, because you're someone who takes their gift and gives it to the world with their fullest ability without expecting anything really in return. And you've done that. So to me, that's someone legendary. You know what I mean? Whether Instagram or this or that or whatever validates you or not, to me, anyone that does what they have and pushes their gift fully with the most amount of the light that they possibly can have is someone. And they should be getting that type of recognition. And I'm proud, and I know it's going to be just one of the small recognitions you're going to get. Now, that also brings me to my next question, which is, how do you balance the recognition when you're getting a lot of hype, you're getting a lot of people kind of, clapping their hands, but at the same time, you also feel like you want to do better. And how do you manage to keep yourself in balance, in check, and alignment when the whole world around you is bigging you up, but at the same time, you still need to, obviously, you still want to get better. You don't want to sit in that type of recognition too long.
Mm-hmm. Hearing your question, like the thing that came to my mind was like, none of that validation or praise matters if the way that you see yourself doesn't align. Right. So it's like, I haven't seen, I'll use the film as an example. Like, I haven't seen the film yet.
Right.
So it's like, I'm going to go to the premiere and it's in tips. So like, that should be something in itself that gives me validation. Mm-hmm. But it's like, we're all critical of our own workplace. So it doesn't matter if people are bigging me up. Like, I'm always going to have my own opinion of my performance. And also too, like, I don't think people are the most honest all the time.
No.
I mean, they want to speak you up in your face. Of course. I mean, but what matters is how you see yourself. What matters is that you validate yourself.
Yep.
And what matters is that you have the confidence enough to be like, okay, I seen what I did. Maybe I didn't like what I did here and there. Just take that to the next. How can we learn? How can we improve and make sure we go back even better than we were, you know?
1000%, bro. I love that you bring that up, because that's the most important thing to success, is having an honest awareness of yourself, highlighting your highs, but also examining the things that you can improve on, and also being a friend to yourself. Like, if I see you mess up and we're boys, I'm going to be compassionate to you and in a loving way tell you you're messing up. But to ourselves at times, because we have so much love for our passions, we're very toxic sometimes, from my experience, at least when we do mess up and we're like, what the hell was wrong with you? Why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? And over the years, as I'm sure you've learned, I've learned to be more compassionate with myself when I do see things that could be a little bit better, and also remember how I handled them in the past, both in the right way and in the wrong way. And that actually leads me to my next question. We talked about recognition, but what about the critics? Have you had any people that, you were close to you that criticized your path, or maybe didn't quite understand it and maybe threw some negativity or, jabs at you that you didn't feel like were justified or necessary?
In regards to like the art, like, what do you mean? Like
in regards to just choosing that whole career path, right? Like, yeah. Especially speaking to those younger people that are maybe from different cultures that where, let's say something like acting or music might not be condoned, maybe their parents are like more pushing them towards academics route. Mm-hmm. So have you had any experiences like that?
The first thing that came to my mind was when I used to work at Toronto Pan Am Center. I used to work at the Tim Hortons there, and just getting to know a lot of the older staff that work there. They would always be like, okay, so like, what do you do? Like, I know this is not what you want to do, but like, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, like, acting's my main focus.
Right.
And I remember, like, forgot his name, bro, but he just looked at me with the most like concern in his eyes. He's like, what, why would you do that to your life?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I just started dying. I was like, yo, honestly, I don't know, man. I don't know. But like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not, again, going back to what we said before, it's important to, all that matters is how you see yourself, how you view yourself, and like how you see your life going, like I took a chance on myself, and respectfully, I have so much further to get until I feel like, okay, I made it. You know what I'm saying? But again, I'm not even focused on that. I'm just focused on everything going on right now, and I'm grateful for everything I have. So whenever I see those moments, like, I slap, because They're gonna say, I have to quote my brother, they gonna say I took the wrong avenue till it makes you revenue. You know what I mean? That's lowercase, pilot episode out right now. But yeah, like it's that stuff doesn't matter.
Amazing, bro. I couldn't agree more with you. And I love that, you know, every person who's pushed themselves in a way that's maybe unorthodox has had at least a few of those moments and interactions where someone doubted the shit out of them.
Of course.
And they just had to kind of keep their chin up and push through it and really not paying no type of mind and almost laugh at it, because it just pushed you a little bit extra harder at working at it and say, you know, I'm gonna make sure I prove that person wrong.
Of course. Prove yourself right.
100%. Prove them wrong, prove you right. One important question I also want to touch on was, do you have anything else that you would share to anyone else that's young, that's trying to also become an actor? Do you have any advice, words of wisdom? I mean, you already shared a lot of words of wisdom to the younger, but directly to them, addressing those that are maybe, you know, 15 at home right now and they want to get started. What would you say is the key to staying disciplined when maybe the opportunities aren't landing for them?
Okay. Honestly, like, I have a lot of conversations with my acting peers, and like we have the same conversations where it's just like, you chose to be in the situation, you're where you're at because of all the decisions leading up to now. Like, so the biggest thing is that if you want to be an actor and you haven't gotten any gigs yet, and it's been a week, a month, maybe even a year, like, you just have to have that unwavering faith. You know what I mean? Like, you have to trust the process. As long as like you're aligned with everything that it is, like you're going to classes, you don't even have to go to classes. Word to one of my other brothers, like Idrissa, like, if you want to act, just act. You know what I mean? Find a monologue that you really like. If you're watching good content, good movies or whatever, and you see something that like that strikes you as like, oh shit, I want to learn that. Like for me, one of the first things that did that was Daniel Kaluuya in Black Mirror. I think it was, I forgot the episode, but the one where they're riding the bikes.
Okay.
He had a monologue at the very end. Beautiful. I seen that. I was inspired enough to learn that. I didn't end up learning it, but it inspired me. You know what I mean? So when you have moments like that, learn that. Act. You don't have to go to classes. If you can't afford it, fine, just act. There's so many people that have made it that have never touched an acting class. But the greats still do acting classes, so do those acting classes. Trust yourself. Trust your ideas, because they matter. That's even just besides acting, just whatever it is you want to be, whether it's a barber, whether you want to start a podcast, whether you want to like be behind the camera, be a DP, director, even if you want to just be a doctor, like whatever it is, if you want to make music, trust your ideas, they matter, because no one else is going to be out there and making sure their ideas come to life. But also too, one thing I'm learning is like, ideas are gifts. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you have an idea for a bag, if you have an idea on how to make like jewelry, if you have an idea for a podcast and like you've been sitting on it for 8 months, you know what I'm saying? Sitting on it for 8 months, like, and you see somebody with this that come out with the same idea, don't get mad at that person. You know what I mean? Because you had 8 months to execute.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like ideas are gifts. When you get the ideas, use them. You don't utilize them, it's gonna go to the next person that will. Or not, then it'll go to the next person.
Right.
But if you have an idea, act on it.
Make that idea your life, turn that passion into your purpose. Josh, dude, you are an outstanding person, exceptional story. This is all we can share for today. I hope you guys got a ton out of it, and I do have a gift for you because I do appreciate your presence.
Okay.
It's not much, but I think it's gonna mean a lot, and it's a rock that says courage. All right, because they say you're courageous, man.
I need that.
Yeah. And courage, what it means is not bravery. Bravery is running into battle without being aware of the consequences. Courage is having fear and feeling the fear, feeling your knees buckle sometimes, and still pushing through, fighting through that fear to choose courage as the state of mind, the state of motion you're in. I think you're a very courageous dude, and it shows, and I'm really excited to see what the future holds for you. And I appreciate you being here, my brother.
Feeling the fear and doing it anyways. Can I share one more thing?
Of course.
From my actors that are like out there, you don't even have to be an actor, but like, bro, if you're ever feeling down, one thing that helped me was going on YouTube, typing in Les Brown. He's a motivational speaker. He has a 14-day program. Watching that over and over helped me think so much more positively just in life like this. And he's so charismatic. Like, even if you get nothing from it, you'll just love listening to his voice. It's dope.
Amen. Great gems, bro. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Love. And safe to see Tiff, bro. Excited for that for you.
Shout out,
right?
Man. Maybe I'll see you on set.
Yes, sir. Cheers, guys.